Hello and welcome, true art believers. This is Pearson here. I am the number one live art streamer in the world, and you are watching 400 Days of Drawing. And today we're going to be doing good old fashioned grid drawing, or actually, this is how I'm going to be doing this portrait drawing today. Is going to be working on a grid and working from a grid for about 30 minutes or so, and then we'll call it a day. Um, it's not very exciting. It's actually quite boring, but if you are willing to put in the time, it actually is a kind of like surefire way to kind of get a decent portrait without like having to overthink it. So, without further ado, let's kind of get started, shall we? So, first thing, I just want to make sure that I'm on the right layer. Okay, I'm on the right layer. Make sure I got my brushes, the right brush, soft round. That's what I want. Is the soft round. And then we are going to start out and we're going to zoom in here. Just very, very simple. As I said, it's a very long, like, whoopsie daisy. It's just one of those super slow processes that it just takes such a long time to do. Um, yeah, it's a very, very, very slow thing to like drawing style. But I'm doing it because at the moment I'm like a little lost about like where I want to go with the drawing. So I know that if I'm going to continue this, this is a way to kind of move the drawing forward, to some extent. And so all I'm doing is I am kind of copying these squares, and that's all I'm going to be doing is just kind of copying the squares to the way that I feel that they look, that like how I think that they kind of look visually. And that's all I'm going to do. It's a very slow process. Nothing fancy, nothing too exciting really. It's just really boring stuff. Um it's really kind of boring, and like I can't explain it any other way than I'm just kind of just looking at the value that I'm seeing, and I'm trying to kind of emulate it to some extent, you know. And that's really all I'm doing is just copying these squares essentially. Very boring, boring, boring process, I might add. It's so boring. But I think this is what I'm going to do for this drawing is just do a very this just a grid drawing, very slow, not necessarily meticulous, but it's just a process that is necessary for the way that I'm going with this drawing. And I hate to say it. No, I know I don't hate to say it, but like just one of those things that right now I'm doing because I think that I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm kind of scared of my drawing right now. Like I haven't done this drawing for such a long time that I'm kind of like scared. Like it makes no sense to say like how are you scared of a drawing? Like well I'm kind of like a little worried of messing up. And so that's why I'm doing a grid drawing or using the grid for this drawing because it it will it will kind of like reduce errors. It will reduce the amount of errors, like user error, that I would have if I were just kind of eyeballing everything. And yeah, so that's why I'm doing the grid drawing is to kind of reduce the errors that might occur. And it's just a very slow process. I'm not gonna lie. I remember I would give during my classes that I would teach, I'd give out an assignment that I'd have every one of my students do like a grid drawing using pen and ink. and they hated it. Like, they liked the in process. I think I had like a handful of students that loved it because it was like it was their they dug it. Like, they really dug it. It was like their thing. It just really resonated with them, you know? Um, but most of my students did not like it because it was such a labor intensive action. Like, they would spend days and days and days and days and days on it. And I would also have some students who would, oh gosh, they would procrastinate on doing it, and they do it the very last day, and then they expect me to give them an A because they finished it. Like, you know what? What about the person that spent like 50, 60 hours on this piece? And it really shows. It was weird. It's weird. It's just a weird. Ugh. Sorry, I got some things kind of moving out in the background, but it's a very slow process. Not gonna lie. And I'm just doing it because I think it's gonna get me into the drawing this portrait again, kind of move me in the right direction. Um, as I said, I need a heading for this one, and I need somewhere to like kind of direct something to kind of direct me in the right direction because I haven't done this drawing for such a long time, and probably like a year. I haven't worked on this drawing for like a year. I stopped doing this. I stopped working on portraits because I had so many of them that I lined up that was overwhelmed, and I just canceled all of them, and I stopped working on them. I just couldn't do it. Like, I was working 3 jobs, and I was waking up at 4 in the morning to try to bust out these drawings, and all the while, I think I was even at one point trying to doing an art show. I don't know if I did this doing a solo show. I don't know if I was working on the solo show before or after. I think it was before. I think I was working on the solo show before I started doing portrait commissions. But yeah, I just I had to stop. I wasn't. It was very, very like I was. It was stressful, and I was always exhausted, always tired, and I wasn't really enjoying the process of the portraits. I wasn't enjoying doing them because it was like they they were not fun anymore. Like, when they're finished, they're beautiful, but when I was working on them, it became like a chore, like a thing that I had to do or I felt required to do, and not something I enjoyed to do. And that's what the live stream kind of is to some extent. But I can actually, I don't like dread the live stream like I was dreading doing these portraits. I was dreading waking up in the morning to do the portraits. And what happened was that dread was affecting the outcome of the drawing. Like, I was like psychologically taking longer and longer to finish a drawing, you know, and yeah, I was taking longer and longer to finish a drawing that I just wasn't getting them done, and they never ended, and so I just stopped doing them. I just stopped doing them, and I felt so relieved. Oh my gosh, the relief from not having to work on these portraits was it was like a literal rock or stone was removed from my shoulders, because they were a huge burden. It was it was so exhausting and so mentally incapacitating to work on them that I it was impeding my ability to draw them. Like I would get up early in the morning, at 4 in the morning, and I'd start drawing them by like 4:30, and I draw for about 2 hours. And after 2 hours, I was like, man, geez, man, did I even do anything on these things? Uh, and I did stuff. Yeah, I would give you that. Like they were moving forward, but they were so slow. Like it was not going anywhere, and it was frustrating. You know, after looking at them, I'm like, man, I was like, what happened? Like, why are these drawings taking so long to do? And what was happening was I was getting better, but I was getting better at doing the portraits, but but the let me see, like I was getting better, but my speed was not getting better. I wasn't getting able to go faster. I wasn't able to draw faster because I wasn't able to kind of sit down and do a little bit of like research on how to improve my digital portrait drawing. Um, and yeah, it got I was getting better, but I was getting slower at it, and that was the kind of thing that I wasn't wanting to do. I didn't want to get slower at drawing. I wanted to get faster at it, and I felt like there was something really slowing me down, and there must have been like some psychological like thing just kind of holding me down, and it sucked. And all in all, it really did suck. Um, I liked doing them, but they were so mentally draining to me that I just had to stop. And I stopped for about almost a year, and up until now, I just didn't work on them, and I feel good. But now I'm working on them, and I think it's going to be a good thing because now I won't I won't be doing like 2 hours at a time. I'll be working on them for like 30 minutes, 3 days a week. It's just very low like mental like pressure, mental volume. Like I'm not going to be using a low mental load. I'm not going to be using a lot of mental RAM, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I like to call it that. If you know what I'm talking about, like there's days where you're making decisions after decisions, and you're doing things over and over again. They're like that are that are really bogging down your system, right? You have all this stuff that you have to do, and you've been making decisions all day, and it in the end, at the end of the day, you're like you have no you've run on empty. You've literally depleted all your like energy reserves on just making decisions. And what art is, what drawing can be at times is what you're doing in drawing and in painting or whatever art thing that you are doing and partaking in is you're making decisions, uh, um, for better or worse. You're making drawing decisions, you're making visual decisions, and the more you spend working on them, the more decisions you are making. So what happens is I was doing these drawings all day long, for 2 hours a day, and at the end of the day, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was so exhausted from the entire ordeal, and it wasn't fun. But as you can see, what I'm doing here is basically just kind of trying to mimic the areas that I see here. So, like as you can see, this is my hand drawing, and this is the photo, and I'm just trying to kind of get it close visually. It does. I don't want to. I don't have to. I don't care if it's not perfect, but I want something that's kind of close in the relative sphere of the image for this area. When I go, um, yeah, for this area, I don't know why. I don't know why I'm doing it this way. I just feel that doing a grid drawing takes the mental load off you because you're not having to think as much with regards to like visual relationships and seeing with as far as like sightseeing. all you're basing it, all you're looking at is you're looking at the square, and if you're looking at your square and seeing if those squares are similar, you know, and that is a very simple thing to do. It takes, it doesn't take nearly as much mental RAM to achieve that, and so that's why I'm doing it, because it allows, it kind of allows me to, it takes away from like decision making. You know, you don't have to think about like, oh, is this looking like so? Did I get it just right? And it's a very low mental load, mental RAM uh, exercise, and it's nice. It's an okay strategy, you know, to do. There's not like it's not the best strategy. I don't know. I don't really know what the best strategy is, but it's not the worst strategy. And yeah, so here we are, just kind of fiddling around and hoping for the best. But if I zoom out, it looks pretty similar. Like if I zoom out these areas, you see these this is the mine, and the one on top is the photo. So that's pretty good, you know? At least I think so. I don't know. I don't know. So now I can hear the computer deciding that it can't think. So I don't know if it's locked out. So we're gonna have to stop, and then we're going to exit real quick again, because apparently this is what happens a lot, is it like it just locks out on me. But yeah, so here we are. We're almost done with one line. And that's pretty good actually. That's not too shabby. I think it's because I've also kind of already worked on it. Um, when I was already working on it prior to this, or when I stopped working on this drawing, I was already working on these areas, and so these areas I've already kind of had a little bit of exposure to some of the tones or some of the details that I'm doing right now. Here we go. It's kind of let's see, a little bit of like highlights here. And we're gonna zoom out real quick, and I think that's done. That area is done. Now I need to decide what I want to do. So we're gonna close this navigator real quick. Gonna close this, close the color real quick. Then we're gonna go and then we're gonna let's see. What I should be doing is we're gonna make a duplicate of the dress, and this area we're going to zoom out real quick. And we need to remove. What is going on? Where's my? I'm trying to look for something. I just want to remove all of it. Anyways, I don't know what I'm removing. Let's see here. I'm gonna zoom out. Dress copy. There we go. Address copy. Move that out. Let's go look at the address copy, and we're going to remove something using the we're going to remove this area. I think I'm going to do a snap. I'm going to set up my snap to guides, and we're going to do that right now. And we want to delete that. There we go. Now we're going to go to this second layer and work on that one at a time, like so. Yeah. I think I got to work on the second layer. Anyways, here we go. All right. What's really confusing is what the second layer is. Uh what's confusing right now is I got all of this all these layers are black and white, and it's hard to discern which is my drawing and which is the actual like photo that I'm kind of copying from, because they're really close, and the photo is blurry, you know. So the photo is blurry, which causes all kinds of issues. But here we are. I got a few more minutes, and we're going to call it a day after that. So this is this. And we got to go to what layer we got to go to is okay. All right, go here. And we'll try our best. We're going to try our best. Okay, so it's a little softer than that. We're going to basically going to soften all of this up. Yeah, we're going to soften it all up here. And maybe add this dark area right here. But still kind of maintain a softness to it. Yeah, it's going to be a slow process, and that's how it is. It's just a just slow process of kind of a slow drawing process, and that's okay, especially if you're just kind of if you are kind of concerned about making errors, right? And yeah, very slow process. Some people don't like it. It's like almost too slow. I don't mind it because as I said, it relieves me of like thinking. I hate saying that because that makes me sound like a dummy, but I am a dummy, really. Let's be honest. Like, no, I hate saying it because it sounds it doesn't sound it sounds bad, right? But like it kind of it makes it easier on making decisions and stuff. So I'm just kind of copying these two squares right here, making sure that they kind of like go together and so forth. But yeah, I'm only going to do it for about 5 more minutes. As I said, I'm just it's a late. And the fact that I got one line done, I think I'm pretty happy with that. I got a lot more lines to do, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. Like I really am. And once I get all this done, I'll be very happy, and I can go ahead and start working on the faces and the face, and that will be a little bit that the face and hair, that'll be a little bit easier because I won't I'll it'll be more traditional. It won't be like I'm doing a grid drawing, it'll be more organic. It'll be a little bit more interesting. And this after doing this type of drawing where I'm using the airbrush to kind of basically copy the area, um, I think after getting some of those reps in, I'll have a little bit better time on kind of getting into the zone of drawing um, this portrait. I'll be a little bit more comfortable after kind of working on this area because um, just just basically kind of getting accustomed, getting like acclimated to drawing from the figure. Drawing the drawing basically just drawing. I can't really explain it other than that. Like I just makes it easier because I've been so out of like drawing shape. No, don't get me wrong. I have been drawing, but I haven't been doing this type of drawing. I've been doing like kind of like a specialized type of drawing. Like I've been doing like a specific thing. And when you do a specific thing, like draw cactuses, you 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 kind of atrophy in other departments of art. I suspect that since I haven't painted for almost like a year, if I were or 2 years, if I were to go ahead and start painting again, I was asked if I was still painting, and I said no. I don't have time for it or the space. And to be honest with you, when I said that to myself, I felt a little bit sad. I was like, man, I do enjoy painting whenever it's like as like a pastime. Um, I don't know. I think deep down inside, I might not be like a professional artist. I might be just a guy who likes doing it and has fun with it. Um, but I feel like the whole the drawing from trying to be a business, making art a business is it's difficult. There's a lot of, or at least maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe it's not as difficult as everyone's saying. Like maybe I'm just thinking about it differently. Maybe I keep psyching myself out, like, oh, it's not difficult. Uh, I don't know. Anyways, it's not difficult. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not an art business major, or I'm not a business major, so I can't really like speak for like, oh, selling art is easy. You just gotta market yourself. I'm like, well, how do you market yourself? I guess I can make the argument that what I'm doing right now is marketing for myself, right? And if that's the case, I'm doing a I'm marketing every day for about 30 minutes, and that marketing is there indefinitely. I don't know if that's the case. I should be like rolling in art dough, but I'm not. I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. Just don't. I'm just making no sense. It's just ranting about something, and it's not even like valid ranting. It's just more like meh, meh. Oh gosh, I am pretty tired. Pretty tired, that's for sure. Oh wow, and this is taking longer than it should have. And that's what happens when you are like in a state of fatigue. Notice that though, if you look at this area, even though they're similar, I try to push some of the contrast in some of the areas a little bit more than the actual photo. Um, so I am kind of doing a little bit of artistic license even on this micro scale. So just so you know why I'm like, why is it they don't look the same? It's because I'm still giving a little bit of artistic license. Look at this. Look at that nice hair fade right there. That's really cool. All right. Let's save it, and then we're gonna flip it around right quick. And right, we're just gonna flip it around real quick and see what it looks like. We're gonna zoom out like that, and then we're gonna remove the dress and show you what it kind of looks like now. So as you can see, a lot of work, but I'm going to be doing this line and this line. I'm just going to be going line by line, and eventually it's going to be done, and it's going to look pretty decent, I think. Um, you can make the argument like, was it worth it? And I could say, probably not. I could say without a shadow of a doubt, like that was probably a waste of my time. But it's something I have to do right now to kind of get into the drawing because it's been such a long time. Like all of this her whole neck area needs to be addressed. This is okay. Everything feels kind of flat. I think part of it is because I haven't really worked on the hair. And I think the reason why I haven't worked on the hair is because it's also kind of flat because the photo is kind of grainy and it makes it hard to do to work with images that are kind of grainy and hard to see. Anyways, that's what I have so far. And I'm going to go back here, put my grid lines back up. Oh, excuse me, I'm yawning. And bada bing, bada boom. That is it for the day. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I know it was boring, but it's going to be a mini of boring days with this drawing because it's just one of those. It's the process that I'm doing is going to be really slow. I'm just going to do this line by line, and it's going to start looking like a printer, where eventually you're gonna it's gonna look like a printer essentially, where like each area is gonna print off from the next. Well, I wish you a wonderful day. Zoom out real quick before I go. And I hope you have a wonderful day. This is Pearson. Cheers and have a wonderful day. This is it. I got to get going. Pearson out. Have a good night. Thank you so much for watching.